Well, hello woodworkers, welcome back to my shop. What I'm thinking about doing today is I've bought a roll of this bulk sandpaper. This is 80 grit, and I need to put it on my Performax drum sander. So I've got the old one off here, and if you look at it without any doubt in your mind, you can see that this sandpaper has been ruined. Too much glue squeezed out. I should have scraped it off real well, and instead I just threw it on the drum sander and let it run through. So what you get is this when you do that. Well, Performax have a way of cutting a taper on the end of your roll so that you can go around the circle in a diagonal direction and come out on the other end with a good wrap. So what I'm going to do first off is to lay out my bulk sandpaper, and this original that came from Performax is 90.5 inches long. So what I've got to do is try to duplicate that. Now don't make the mistake of putting your sandpaper pieces together with the grit toward each other when you're making your first layout. You'll be in big doo-doo because you'll have the angle the wrong direction on the end of it. So what I've decided to do for now, until I come up with a better way of doing it, I'm going to lay this out on the table to where I have 90.5 inches long. My table's not long enough to do that, so I have to go off the end of the table. Then I'm going to take see which direction the arrows go. I need to know that, and they point that direction. Okay, on the original, we have the same thing happening here. So what I'm going to do is lay the end of this right at the end of the new paper, and then I'll roll this out. Double duty on the batteries here. And then I've got some soapstone here where I can mark where I want this angle to go. I'll just go along the original like that, and then I can get rid of my old sandpaper. Now I've got the carbon copy, if you will, of the original angle. So now what I can do is take my tin snips, and I'll just start here and I'll cut it right along that line, and that will give me the right angle, so that when I start to wrap it on the drum, then I will be starting at an angle so that it will just spiral down the drum sander. Well, you know how things go. It seems like there's always a little bit of a problem you didn't expect was going to happen. When I rolled out my new sandpaper from the bulk sandpaper, I discovered that about the first 2 feet or so of my sandpaper somehow had gotten cut too narrow. So what it's done is left me with a big gap here on the end when I tied it down into the spring-loaded end of the drum sander. So I'm a little short here on the way it came out, I did everything right as far as cutting the angles. They line up pretty well with the end of the drum. And this end lines up really nice with the end of the drum. But I just assumed that that 1/4 of an inch narrower piece on the end of the bulk would be usable. Well, it is to an extent, but you see here I've got a big old gap on one end, so I can only use this part of it successfully. The rest of it it's just there. I tried running, you see some sanding dust on it. I already tried running it and it seems to be fine using it from here back. So the next time I cut a piece off, it's going to, the length was right and maybe just a tiny bit too long, but the width just messed everything up. So that's just one of the things that you run into when you start doing these kind of things. One thing I forgot to mention is these ends are cut at the opposite angle in order to match up with the opposite side. This end has got the angle cut one direction, and when you come over here, this one's got to be cut the opposite direction. So don't make the mistake of trying to cut both of them the same, because you'll be disappointed and things won't work out right. So I thought maybe I'd just throw that at you, something for you to think about, and hopefully my mistakes might save you some time later on. So this will be Wayne signing off, and hopefully I will feel well enough to make another one next week. We'll just take it little bit at a time and see how things go. This is probably going to be out of focus because I didn't focus the camera, but anyway, you can look at my ugly mug for a minute. I appreciate you watching this, and I'm sure that you probably made a few of the same mistakes that I have in my lifetime, and some of the smart ideas have come along just because you didn't know that it couldn't be done, but you did it anyway. See you next week.